Sorry, Cursed Hollow.
Mm-hmm.
Organizing lobby and talking at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we will have Throwing on the left side as well as Gaming in the Rhythm on the right side.
Mm-hmm. Okay, fantastic. So I'm going to not forget to start the betting. Time to put your points where your mouth is, folks. Let's get some bets going on these teams. Meanwhile, we are into the draft. Throwing with first pick on this draft here. So let's see what they want to go with. They don't want to see a Tassadar. Interesting. I don't see this as one of Tassadar's primary maps, but obviously Tassadar is a very powerful hero overall at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the point. He is just, even if it's not his best map, he is still strong in general.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that is really strong with Tassadar on Cursed Hollow is if you're getting to this like super late game phase where both teams are basically ignoring the tribute because winning a boss means winning the game.
Yep.
And if you have the Oracle quest on level 7, you have 15 seconds cooldown on Oracle with a 5-second uptime. So you can constantly check the position of your opponent. That's a really huge advantage you can get in that phase of the game.
Absolutely. I mean, I completely agree. When I used to play League of Legends before Heroes of the Storm even existed, I learnt my lesson well and truly then that vision is king in MOBAs. Having the ability to provide vision and knowledge of where the enemy team is can make a huge amount of difference for the flow of the game and what you're able to safely get away with as the game progresses. So I like to see we've already got some betting coming in. It's good stuff, guys. I'm a little disappointed that people are betting in the teens. We need to get some more funding going on here. If I could make it rain, I would, but I'm afraid we're on channel 2 here. So picks coming in. Dehaka has also been banned out. Dehaka, obviously, a really powerful global hero on the map. Varian as the first pick by Throwing. I have been watching some of their matches. They love their Varian. They love their aggressive blow-up engages. So I'm not surprised to see that from them. And unfortunately, I say unfortunately, again, my bias showing, I'm afraid, we do see a really strong response to that style of comp coming out from Gaming in the Rhythm. They've immediately recognised what that Varian pick can shape into, and they've picked the Falstad, the best disengage tool that exists currently, I believe, and Zarya, who is a pseudo support as well as providing disengage with that expulsion zone.
One thing about the Zarya pickup here as well is that sadly I don't have too much data about the games Throwing played so far, but the data I have shows that they were going a lot with double support combos, or like, this support plus Zarya, support plus Medivh, something like that. And by taking the Zarya away here, you already take this maybe comfort zone of Throw Inc away, of playing with a support and another hero that can help with the shielding and so on. And taking that away means that we may be seeing something different here from Throw Inc, which they are not that comfortable with.
Well, you say that. Tyrael is another hero that somewhat provides, not as much as a Medivh or a Zarya, but somewhat provides that additional support, the shields, the sanctification obviously can be a very big deal post level 10, and they do then pick up the Malfurion, so they've locked in, as I've said in previous casts, what is generally considered the top tier healer at the moment. Now, given the picks that we've seen from Throwing, I think the bans, they can either look at banning a tank if there's a tank they don't want to see on the enemy team. They could look at banning a support if there's a specific support they don't want to see. Equally, they could opt for a Tychus ban because Tychus does very well against those kind of high health pool heroes like Varian and Tyrael. They are hovering the ETC ban, and that is what they go for. The
And
Valor.
I think with the Varian ETC ban here, what you're if you're looking at the team comp so far, Tyrael can't really interrupt the mosh pit. Varian can't interrupt the mosh pit. Malfurion has to use his ultimate, so they only have 2 picks left, which could mean interrupting the mosh pit. And still, ETC is a strong hero in general. With the fear of the ETC being coming in there and having the mosh pit, I think that's a good ban to take it away and limit the amount of playmaking that the ETC can bring into this match.
I completely agree. So we do see the Tychus and the Rhaegar being picked up for Gaming in the Rhythm.
Yeah, so basically the damage is set. They will be doing the damage with Tychus and Falstad primarily, and of course Zarya can dish out a lot of damage if she is at a lot of energy. Rhaegar will be the support here, and we are still looking for a frontliner for them. They need this main tank. On the other side, for Throw Inc., we would now have to see what kind of damage they will be using. One of the most common combos is the Li Ming Varian, which we could see because Li Ming can also poke quite nicely on the map. But we are seeing the Medivh and the Greymane here.
Okay, so I really love the team comp that Throw Inc. could put together here. The Tyrael Greymane with the Varian is an insane dive and blow up potential. You also have the Medivh, who provides mobility for the Varian, which is something he lacks a little bit of, and even more mobility for the already mobile Tyrael and Greymane. So they've got a lot of burst, they've got a decent amount of lockdown, and they've got a lot of sustain with the Medivh providing shields as well. Now, I will say, against the damage dealers we see from Gaming in the Rhythm, Medivh is not as powerful because they are sustained damage orientated rather than burst damage. And obviously, it's burst damage where Medivh gets the best value because a shield can protect against a huge chunk of damage.
Yeah, but good for the Medivh player here is that there's a lot of there aren't too many ways of locking him down, because the one thing you are fearing with Medivh is picking up Master's Touch and never being able to finish it, because Master's Touch is quite essential for the amount of damage you can do as a Medivh, and only the Diablo can be a danger to Medivh, basically, because everything else should be able to dodge or get away with portals.
Completely agree, and I've got to be honest, Diablo as a solo frontline always concerns me a little bit. He has a bit of a tendency as a hero to put himself in vulnerable positions, shall we say, with his charge. And leaving him as your solo frontline without another bruiser in the frontline and having Diablo and a triple backline comp is not something I particularly am a fan of. Now, don't misunderstand me. I'm well aware that Gaming in the Rhythm are far better players than I am, a far better team than I am. So I'm not saying they can't pull it off, but I'm interested to see what they're going to come up with here. Now, we are into the game. On the right-hand side, in the red, we do have Gaming in the Rhythm. They are Gale Gunner on the Rhaegar, Haft on the Falstad, Bairn on the Zarya, Doombane on Diablo, and Tegze on the Tychus.
And on the left side, Throw Inc. with Rayano playing Medivh, Lycoke T playing Greymane, Alone Name playing Varian, Malfurion being played by Draconi, and Schlappel playing Tyrael.
Indeed. So, the teams have spawned onto the map, and we do see just a direct two-man move to the bot lane from Throw Inc. with the Greymane and the Malfurion. I do just have to point out as well, fantastic portrait and mount synergy from Throw Inc. They have consistently been acing that aspect of this game. And to be honest, it seems to be what's giving them the power to progress so far through the playoffs bracket. So massive props to that.
And definitely establishing themselves as the most successful Division 2 team here with their position in the playoffs.
Oh, by miles. They're sort of, I think they're 2 rounds farther in than any other Division 2 team made. at this juncture.
Yeah.
So very, very impressive performance by them. They've taken out multiple Division 1 teams on their way to get here. By no means will that make this match a pushover, but don't count them out, guys. Anything can happen.
So far, the early game here is going quite far into the favor of Gaming in the Rhythm. Rhythm. Sorry for that. They already have destroyed the front wall at the top lane and taken out the well, which is really important because the first tribute will either spawn in the middle of close to the top lane or the bot lane. So if there's the spawn to the top lane, I could even see throwing giving up the tribute all completely because they don't have the well there. And the well is really important for your team to be able to resupply with health and mana after the first brawl happening around the tribute. And on the bot lane, their pressure only got the towers to 50% health. So a slight advantage here already for Gaming in the Rhythm.
For sure, for sure. We do see mid lane has sort of gone fairly even for both sides, but as you say, the effectiveness of the push in top lane for Gaming the Rhythm has been much greater than the effectiveness of the push in bot lane by Throw Inc. And indeed, Throw Inc. sort of abandoned that push quite early. They didn't stick at it. Now, with a Medivh, in the early game, you obviously don't expect your Medivh to necessarily have as much power out and out as most other heroes. A lot of utility, but not a lot of power. And equally, Varian also in the early game is relatively weak. So I
agree completely.
That's an explanation as to why they're falling behind, but it's still awkward for them. Now we do have both siege camps picked up, and the tribute is spawned on the bottom side of the map, which means that Volstad has to stay to deal with those mercs at the top of the map, whereas the remaining all 5 members, oh dear, Greymane does get it picked off, and Varian is going to follow an attempt to use the aggressive portal there, but does get stopped from getting away. Medivh shield. Nice
shield by Medivh saving himself there. But in general, it wasn't the best fight for them because their opponents were close to level 7, and a lot of the team of Throw Inc. was already at 50% health. And even though you have the Malfurion, getting to a fight with 50% health, if it's more than one player, makes it really hard for even a Malfurion to get the team healed up completely. And that's what we saw here. They were already low. They tried to fight for the tribute, and it didn't work out for them in the end.
That's right.
And now they have to get back a little bit in level.
On the flip side, the Volstad wasn't there, and I guess they thought they wanted to try and engage while they had the opportunity to have a 4v5. But Gaming the Rhythm still going to be able to win that fight, it seems. So, level 7's locked in for both teams. We do have a 1 level lead for Gaming the Rhythm, and they have just picked up that that Bruiser camp in the mid lane there. Medivh obviously providing a lot of information and scouting on the enemy team.
And he just decided to go with the Master's Touch. So the normal choice, but now he has to be really careful with his positioning.
Oh, and that is gonna be rather awkward. Medivh just falling, dived very deep. Did manage to trade for the Rhaegar though, and Tychus also has fallen extremely low and been forced to retreat. This might be a tribute that Throw Inc. can pick up, unless, unfortunately, trying to just retreat against the Volstad Zarya and just taking damage all the way along. So that is going to be the Tyrael falling as well. So that's 2 kills for Gaming the Rhythm and 1 for Throw Inc. And that's going to be a second tribute locked in for Gaming the Rhythm. And what's especially awkward for Throw Inc. here is that it is likely that Gaming in the Rhythm will be level 10, and they will not when we get to the next tribute phase.
Yes, exactly. That's what I'm fearing for them as well, that they will be behind here. And I really like this choice of them for going for the boss now, because They will not be able to contest the boss in a few seconds, but now they have to be careful. Their Medivh should be there on watch, and he is using the portal to see it. But still, it's a bit difficult position for them, especially with Gaming in the Rhythm now picking up the level 10, and there is still explosion zone. Shivra is on the right, trying to defend it, but he is not going to be able to.
Ancestral. And that is going to be 2 kills and the boss picked up by Gaming in the Rhythm there. So that's a huge advantage now for Gaming in the Rhythm. They're nearly level 11. Opponents are not quite level 9 yet. They're going to have this curse. They've got a boss pushing in the bottom lane, and looks like they are probably going to get another kill here on Varian. They do, so that's another death for Throwing. Throwing, unfortunately, seem to be struggling a little bit here in the start, at least, of this game. That is currently a 4-level advantage for Gaming in the Rhythm. They are going to capitalise upon that very hard. They are pushing with a nearly full health boss into this bottom keep.
And I think they can try to get the keep here. Their opponents are still quite far away from level 10.
And
they have the Giants in the backline dealing a lot of damage as well. Falstad can join in, has some disengage with the Gust up once again, so that they can definitely finish the boss at the keep and now get out, and that's an amazing lead for them already. Greymane is trying to get out of there, but Varian is the one to fall here.
And the boss kills the bottom keep. And
they're actually trying to finish
here. I
here.
think they can end pre the opponents getting level 10 if Throwing are not very careful. There's a kill on the Greymane and the Tyrael, and the boss is still on half health. The Giants are still pounding away. The core is dropping 40%. Gust comes out to deny the engage. That is game over. A super quick 8-minute Cursed Hollow game going over to Gaming in the Rhythm, putting them 1-0 up in the series.